Imagine waking up to the sound of thunder, but the sky is clear. Now imagine that thunder is followed by a high-pitched whistle, and then an explosion that shakes the very foundations of your home. This wasn't a storm. It was an attack. And for the bewildered residents of Bell Island, Newfoundland, in the summer of 1978, the question wasn't just who was attacking them, but what. I'm Ibnul J. Farabi, and this is the Unexplained Archive. Bell Island is a remote, rocky outpost in Conception Bay, Canada. Its history is one of iron ore mining and tight-knit community. A quiet place. But that quiet was shattered over several weeks, beginning in August of '78. Residents reported a series of bizarre, terrifying incidents. They described hearing a loud boom, like a thunderclap, followed by a distinct whistling sound, a sound older veterans compared to an incoming artillery shell. Then, an impact. Houses shuddered. Windows rattled. In some cases, strange, metallic debris was found. The local police were flooded with calls. At first, they suspected pranksters, maybe dynamite stolen from the old mines. But the scale and the peculiar characteristics of the events quickly ruled that out. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police launched a formal investigation. The Canadian military was called in. They scoured the island and the surrounding waters. They found impact craters and strange, twisted metal fragments. But they found no launcher, no perpetrator, and no logical point of origin. The official theories began to surface, and each was more puzzling than the last. Could it have been sonic booms from military aircraft? The pilot stationed nearby swore they weren't flying that day. Could it have been a meteorite shower? The whistling sound and the repeated, targeted nature of the events over weeks didn't fit. The most tantalizing clue came from some of the recovered fragments. Analysis showed they were a type of low-grade cast iron, not consistent with modern artillery or aircraft. It was, as one investigator put it, junk metal. So who, or what, was firing junk metal at a remote Canadian village? This is where the story takes a turn into the truly strange. Bell Island has another, older mystery. Just off its coast is a site known as the Bell Island Boom of another kind. In 1974, for years earlier, multiple witnesses saw a series of strange, luminous objects descend from the sky and dip into the waters near the island. These were not dismissed. They were investigated by both the RCMP and the Canadian Department of National Defense. The file remains open. So when the shelling began in 1978, many islanders connected the events. Had something been disturbed? Was this a continuation? The peculiar nature of the fragments led some researchers to a wild but persistent theory that the shells were not military, but industrial. Could they be waste material, slag, propelled by some unknown force? The idea seemed absurd, yet it matched the evidence. The military investigation eventually closed without a definitive answer. The leading theory offered was that of ice heaves, massive sheets of ice cracking and exploding with tremendous force. But for the residents who heard the whistle, who felt the targeted impacts, that explanation has never rung true. They heard the signature of a projectile. They were under fire. What happened on Bell Island sits in that uncomfortable space between fact and folklore. The official reports exist. The police investigations are real. The witnesses are credible. Yet, the conclusion is a shrug. It reminds me that the world is still full of small, intense mysteries that don't get solved, just archived. They become part of a place's soul. For Bell Island, it's the sound of a whistle from nowhere, a boom that came from something just beyond our understanding. For the Unexplained Archive, I'm Ibnul J. Farabi. This is a production of Light Knot Studios. Visit us at https://www.lightknotstudios.com to explore the archive.